Hello, my name is Jane, and obviously you can tell I have cancer. I'm pretty much completely bald under here, although a little bit of peach fuzz is growing. I'm gonna get chemo that everything's gonna fall out. Um,
So when did your cancer journey start?
uh, Cancer started in 2022. My husband Scott was sick before I was diagnosed. I don't know how long I had the cancer before I was diagnosed. It was stage 3. Um, but my husband had died in November of 2021, and then I was diagnosed finally later 2022. But the first visible symptom came out in the end of June, beginning of July of 2022, when I had a massive lymph node pop out in my neck, and the doctor said it was the size of a golf ball. So if I
Oh,
say that, that's what the doctor said. That's not me, overestimating.
yeah. So how long was that first treatment?
I had chemo for 5 months. I went through chemo, and it actually wasn't bad, surprisingly. Uh, I didn't have the nausea and the vomiting that you see people get a lot of the times. I had medication. I did get nauseated sometimes, but never got sick. I had one of the weirdest things that happened, I think, was when I couldn't, it was like my body temperature couldn't regulate. And I would be hot to the point where sweat would be just literally running down my head. And I felt like I was in an oven, to feeling kind of normal, my body temperature, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm freezing.
Hmm.
So this went on for about a week,
Yeah.
and I spent the whole week in bed because I couldn't. I either I was
Yeah.
yeah I was either freezing or I was roasting, and it's like, what do you do? So
Yeah. Yeah. So you were in remission then?
yep. I went into remission. I found that out in June of 22, and then June 22, and then I was June up to June 2023. I was good. I think it was 20. Yeah, I came out of remission. I found out I had cancer again in October of 2024,
Mm-hmm.
stage 3 again. Uh, and this time they decided that I needed to have stem cell transplant.
Which you haven't had yet, but you started treatment when?
When did I start treatment? Was it November? No,
Yeah,
my first one was in December, and that's when I got so sick.
right. And that was really bad. She had a hard time going through that. Uh, you got these big horrible sores on your belly, right? How many?
11,
11 sores.
11 that opened up.
And the one of them was like, what, 2 centimeters deep,
Yeah,
2 centimeters wide, or something like that?
it was 2 centimeters deep, and then it tunneled deeper. A little part went out and tunneled like another 2 centimeters further into my body, into the tissues.
Hmm.
And that one, all the other ones have healed finally. That one is almost completely healed. I was thinking it had to heal from the inside out. So
Yeah, and here we are, March 1st, and that started in December.
yeah,
So it's taken that long for that to heal.
yeah, yeah, taken quite some time. Thank God it's almost healed now. So
Yeah. And then next week, or this week rather, we're coming into this week.
Yeah,
What's your appointment on Thursday?
Thursday. What is my
Is
appointment on
that just
Thursday?
that's not chemo? Is that your
No,
that's your doctor appointment and is that's not the stem cell, right? Or is it the
no.
following week is the stem
You know
cell?
something? Let me just quick check. I have so many appointments, especially because of when I was in the hospital, I was septic. So I was really sick. And I'm not seeing infectious diseases anymore. Um, but I still see uh wound care. Maybe that's what the appointment is. Wound care, and I see the oncologist. Uh oh, the PET scan. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the PET scan.
Yeah, you have an appointment and then the PET scan, right?
No, just the PET scan. No
I
appointment.
have two things written down.
I'll
Hmm.
double check. I'll
Yeah,
double
I'll have to
check.
look at mine. Um, but yeah, it's got a busy schedule, and then depending on what the PET scan says, then you find out about the stem cell, right?
Yes. If the chemo is done really good with the cancer, then they're gonna go the avenue of me getting a stem cell transplant. And they'll give me something. I'll get shots of some kind of medication to stimulate my own stem cells. Then they'll
Okay.
remove them. They'll be sent out to be processed, and they're somehow, I think it's like infused with some kind of medication that once it's back introduced to my body, it will wipe out any cancer cells.
Right.
That if the chemo hasn't done that good of a job, then there's another procedure, which I'll have to look it up. I can't remember what it's called it because we never really discussed that one that much. But that one, if I'm correct, they take your T cells.
Yeah, you said something about T
Yeah,
cells.
they'll take your T cells and they'll do something, basically very similar. Um, I don't know, you know,
Which way it's gonna
which
go.
way it's going to go yet. I'm thinking it will go stem cell transplant.
Hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Which you need to be in the hospital for what?
2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah,
A long time.
yeah. That stinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when you got a dog. Oh, my baby.
Hmm.
When I was in the hospital for 11 days, I just missed him so much. I had just lost my baby Charlie not that long before. He was
Puppy, puppy.
my beagle. I have Jake is a beagle too. Maybe one time he'll be awake and he'll pop up on the screen. He is sound asleep. Maybe you'll hear a snore. I don't know.
He's sound asleep 99% of the time I see him.
Yes, he is. He's usually sleeping. When he wakes up in the morning, his big thing is rolling around on the bed on his back and then managing to get himself under the blankets and wiggle around till he can manage to get himself back out. And that sometimes he does it twice a day.
Yeah,
But yeah, so when I was in the hospital, I was pretty a mess.
yeah.
I just lost my
Well, you were
dog.
so sick.
I was sick. I just wanted my husband there. My husband died from ALS, and he was the love of my life. And the one night, and I think it was in the beginning, but a lot of my memories from them are blurry, especially when I first went to the hospital,
Yeah.
because
Well, because you were really sick then.
they took me to one hospital closer to where I live, but I really don't think so. But according to them, and then I was there for I don't know, I don't remember how long, but then they transferred me to the main hospital. This is
Right.
like one of the offshoot hospitals, a smaller one. Then they transferred me to the main hospital because I was too sick for them to take care of me up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And the one night I was in a lot of pain and they gave me some Dilaudid. I never had that before. I think they gave it to me once before, and this night they gave it to me. my friend, of course, my bestie, my sister bestie, Barb, was there. We've known each other since we were 12 years old,
Yeah,
seventh grade.
junior high school.
Yes, that's when
When
we
it
met.
used to be called junior high school and not
Yeah,
middle school.
yeah. And it turned to middle school while we were there.
Yeah, it did. We only went to junior high school for 2 years because then it was all switched over, and then we had they that was the first year they were doing freshmen at the high school, the
Yeah,
ninth grade.
yeah. So we only went for seventh and eighth grade, and then at eighth grade we went, and then and sixth graders started coming. So there was
Right.
sixth, seventh, and eighth. I don't know what it's like anywhere else. I
Yeah.
know everything's different. But yeah, we have had we've had some laughs, and I'm sure that some of those stories will come up.
I'm sure they will.
Oh yeah, and if I think of something good, I will write it down so I remember to tell it.
Yeah, because she's got a better memory than I do, even when she's sick.
I mean, I can forget something like that, and that's one of the side effects of the chemo is it affects your brain, affects
Yeah.
everything. Um, this chemo I'm having now, what it does is it will make your hands super sensitive to cold. So
Yeah, and I never
it's
heard that before. That's weird.
yeah, I never heard of that either, but like I can touch the kitchen counter, which is granite. When I touch the kitchen counter, I will like instantly get pins and needles in my hand. And if I'm have to rinse my hands, and I'll do it under cold water instantly, and it doesn't go away right away. And drinking.
Well, how long does it last? Like minutes or hours?
Oh, it can last a while. I mean, I still have the pins and needles in my hand from I'm not sure how long. It's been at
Wow.
least half an hour. And then eventually it goes away, but I don't have the strength, the dexterity in my hands when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was trying to pick something small up, and I just couldn't pick it up because it was like numb and tingling, and I couldn't tell if it was in my hand or not. It was really weird.
Yeah, and she's crocheting right now, so it makes it more difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah, show them your thing.
I'm making this is from my friend Ace. Now Ace, he's a trip. He's always cold. I mean, always cold. If he comes over here, he bundles himself up in a blanket, and it's like a freaking cocoon. This is a scarf that maybe a few more rows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
maybe
nice. It's pretty.
yeah, maybe a few more rows, and it will be done. It doesn't take long to do a row at all. It's of course it's not that wide,
Yeah,
but it is wide for a scarf, I think.
yeah.
But it's not well, obviously. Um, but that's one of my things I'm doing now, and I have other things that I want to do, but I desperately want to clean and just get overwhelmed when I look at it. And it's the bedroom, and the kitchen won't take long. I just
Hmm.
haven't done it. But
And the thing is, people is it's she thinks it's this big grandiose thing that needs to be done, and it's really not.
I cleaned the living room, dining room, and foyer. Now, that looks great. That looks good. And that was a mess. And that was probably started when my parents were here. After I was diagnosed cancer free, my parents came and they stayed with me pretty much full time for a while, and then they gradually started going home until they stopped coming up here in September
Yeah, but
sometime.
while they were here, they were both sick too.
Yeah, my dad, he has Alzheimer's, and he was recovering from a fall, and he fell and in the backyard, and he rolled down an embankment and hit a tree. He had passed out because of being in a fib, which I'm sure you've seen commercials about it with different medications. And he went to the hospital. They told him nothing was wrong. The next morning, he couldn't move, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't lift up his head. He was in agony. and my mom was trying to give him his pills. I had called while this was going on, and I said, "Mom, I'm hanging up. Call 911. He needs to go to the hospital." And he was in for a month. We're
Is is that when he had the bladder cancer?
yes, he has consider it stage 4, but it's not. There wasn't like lots and lots of cancer, but it's considered stage 4.
Hmm.
And he was undergoing not chemotherapy, but
Immunotherapy. Yeah.
immunotherapy. So I take him to appointments and help
Cheeks
out.
awake.
Hi, Cheeky Poo. And so that was very stressful.
Hmm.
That was very stressful because I'm worrying about my dad. Plus, he has this form of arthritis, and uh, I think it's kind of like an autoimmune arthritis,
Hmm.
and he got it, and his legs are really bad, and he does fall.
And your mom was sick. Was that before she
Uh,
stayed here, or was that
yeah,
okay?
that was before my mom. She was in the hospital. Was that, or was it after?
No, I thought it was before. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's weird. My timeline is
She
off.
has had so much crap happen to her in the last, what is it,
Six
6
years,
years?
6 years now.
Yeah. I don't know how she gets through it all, but um, yeah, it's rough. It's one thing after another, and then I came up here from Texas to stay with her, and it was a month after I got here is when she was re-diagnosed with the cancer, and then what is it, a couple weeks or a month or whatever is now going on. She's got something, the septic in the house is not working.
Yeah, the pump isn't working, and trying to find somebody to take care of it. Went through my home warranty, they wouldn't take care of it. Guy came out, he looked at it. Um, I got in touch with them. I'm like, well, what's the estimate for the work? Well, he hasn't got back to me.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm trying to find help to get some financial help to do it, or somebody just do it for me,
Yeah.
because I live on disability, and that's the only money I get in.
Yeah.
Um, Money wasn't as bad before because I could, go and do a companion job and get some money there and take care of things and have extra money. And then I got sick and I had to
Yeah.
stop
Now you
working.
can't work. But um her and I do both crochet,
Yeah.
and we'll
She's
be selling some pieces and
she's better
whatnot,
than me.
so she says.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you
but
are.
but yeah, we'll be doing things like that to try and get a little bit of money towards the cost of what everything that's going on in the house, because it's not just the septic but the toilet down in the apartment where I live um can't be turned on because all the water just pours right out of it. So um and then there was a leak, which thankfully was taken care of. There was a leak
Yes.
above her hot water heater. Now, all of this happened at one time.
Yep.
One time. And
And it was the hot water heater happened when I was in the hospital. The
yeah,
and I was in was that was when I was in the hospital for being septic.
yes.
Yeah, Charlie got sick when I was in the hospital for my chemo. My first chemotherapy that I had with this relapse was super, super strong, and that's why I ended up in the hospital with sepsis. It was actually over 3 days, which I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it was a 3-day freaking chemo. I never heard of that.
Yeah, I was outpatient the first day, and then the next 2 days I was inpatient, and the one chemo went on for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So,
And then they send your ass home.
yeah,
They fill your body with poison for 3 days, and then they go, okay, you can go home. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. She got really, really sick. And then yeah, you had taken a shower,
Yeah.
and I was in there with her, and I had just turned around to come back into the bedroom, and she passed out cold,
Boom.
and I was
That is.
like, "Son of a bitch!" We can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny then, but
Yeah.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
laugh about it now. But
She scared the living crap out of me. I'm completely unconscious on the floor, like curled up, I think, kind of like in a ball, because where I fell, there was the vanity and then the wall, and
yeah, and
I just kind of went
your
boom.
head bounced off the
Yeah,
wall.
I mean, it's a hard head and
Oh my
everything, and
gosh.
I think it sounded loud because the shower's on the other side, and there was kind
Yeah, it
of
was
an
hollow.
echo. And yeah, it was hollow, so it sounded probably like an atomic bomb
Yeah,
going
yeah. Not funny at all at the time,
at the
but
time.
you
No.
gotta laugh about shit now, though.
Yeah.
It's, yeah,
Oh yeah.
you're going through a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I just Barb helped me. I was in the shower forever because I was so weak, and I wanted to go to the hospital. That was a Wednesday. I wanted to go to the hospital Tuesday, but by the time Barb got home from work, I was just so exhausted. I said, "Let's go tomorrow." Now I realize I should have gone Monday,
hmm,
because that's when I started having more of the symptoms. The symptoms actually started, and I had the weakness because we had to go to the another one of the hospitals, smaller
yeah.
hospitals up here, and I had to take a break walking in the crosswalk. Luckily, it's a parking lot,
Hmm.
and I just lost my breath constantly. I couldn't breathe, and I had no strength.
Yeah, well, what did the one report say that you had? What was it with your lungs? I
It said that there was something that they couldn't they saw in the X-ray, I guess, or the CAT scan. I had so many tests, but they said that there was a spot there, and it could have been fluid from the infection. It could have been pneumonia.
but I
Um,
thought the one test said it was pneumonia.
yeah, well, so there's so many. I'd have to go over all
Yeah, I
these
think
notes and stuff because it probably was pneumonia. Um, And then they also saw on it they said minimal size pleural effusions on each side. And that, I think, is when fluid gets between the lung and the sac of the lung. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me. I
yeah,
know
I don't
some
know.
medical stuff, but
I don't know as much as her.
um,
She's more of the. I worked in the medical field, but she still knows. She's got a good memory.
when it comes to certain things,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah.
I don't remember crap. I never did.
I kind of remember now after you told me numerous times about the toothpaste and the preparation H. I do. That's a long story, and it's funny. She reminded me of it, and I'm like, I
Uh,
did what?
yeah, there's few things I remember, but that was damn ass funny story. Yeah, we won't name names, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she switched out toothpaste
I kind
to.
of like got toothpaste out and got preparation H in, and I never found out the end result because the
Oh
person never
God.
said anything, and I don't know if I don't know. I don't know what happened. All I
It's
know is
just
what I did.
so funny.
That's all I
Oh my
know.
God.
That's all I remember. I did
Oh,
it. I
yeah.
don't know the end result.
But she'll bring up stories from when we were younger, and I'm like, I don't remember that. So eventually, I'm sure you'll hear all kinds of crap, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. We have so many, and it's like I remember certain things, but then memories come back. But
Right.
Barb and I, there was this like misunderstanding on my part. Uh, Barb was pregnant with her first child, Alyssa. Beautiful, beautiful young woman. Well, she's not young now. I think she's considered middle
Well,
aged.
she's in her 30s now, but yeah,
Yeah,
she is
she's
beautiful.
a
She's
beautiful, beautiful
beautiful.
girl. And it was, well, I remember when, before you knew you were pregnant, I had a feeling something was up because I picked her up from work. I took her to the apartment, and before I got to park, she's like, "Stop!" Opens the door, pukes out in the street, and then we get into the apartment, and she's like, "I want Taco Bell."
Yeah,
So I'm like,
I still don't remember that,
"Yeah,"
but
I'm
it's
like,
funny.
something's up." Something's up. I had a feeling, but I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Um, and Barb was with somebody, and I don't know what happened on
I
Barb's end.
don't know.
Yeah, we talked on the phone, and I could tell you were probably mad or upset at something,
Huh.
and you just didn't sound like you wanted to talk. And I said, I said, why don't you give me a call? Yeah, I'll leave you go. Give me a call later or something like that when you feel up to it. It was something like that, and I didn't hear back from Barb, and then I got an invitation to her baby shower, and I didn't know what was going on, and I felt bad. I'm like, do I go? Don't I go? I didn't know. I hadn't talked to her for months, and I didn't go, and we completely lost touch for years. And one day, and I think it was God because I don't think they had it set up classmates. We just so happened to get on
Yeah, I don't remember.
classmates at like the same time. I looked up Barb, you looked me up. We exchanged messages and quickly exchanged phone numbers. So we knew we could get in touch with each other. And
Yeah.
we've been,
It's
you
like we
know,
never stopped
yeah,
talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, but you know how that goes. But yeah, I don't know what happened at all, to be honest
Yeah,
with you. And it was probably something on my part because around the same time I had lost touch with somebody else too, which we're now back in touch and we're best friends and we talk all the time and blah 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 blah. But it was just that short period of time that I don't know, for some reason I just kind of,
could have been hormones.
who knows? Who knows?
Could definitely been hormones.
Yeah, I don't know. Or it could have been, who I was living with.
Yeah, could have been
Um,
that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we wanted to get on here and just do our initial video about the journey that she's been going through and how she's dealing with it, and um kind of keep track a little bit of her um treatments, and how she's doing with all that, and it's also for memories, and and maybe get some advice from people,
Yeah.
and maybe in your cancer journey you might be able to help somebody else or another family, or
Yeah, that's if I can help anybody out, if anybody has any questions, I can answer them to the best of my knowledge.
yeah,
There's lots of resources out there, but you got to find them.
yeah, and that's not as easy as you think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough. It's tough. So
I'm dealing with is it the American Cancer Association? I'm trying to get some help from them, uh, and trying to get help when you're not on Medicare. And I have nothing against people on Medicare whatsoever. But if you're on, excuse me, if you're on Medicaid, that's what I meant. If you're
yeah,
on
because you're on
Medicaid, I'm
Medicare.
on Medicare. Now, if you're on Medicaid, you can get a lot more help than I can get.
Hmm.
I'm on Medicare, and
There doesn't seem to be as many resources.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't get that much money. And when you're sick and you can't supplement your income, my husband didn't have a pension, and I'm too young to collect off of his Social Security. My husband, he was 11 years older than me. So, uh, now he would be, 66 if he were still alive.
Okay.
And he had a small, life insurance policy. That was it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, people, the importance of insurance policies.
yeah,
Um, don't leave your spouses hanging after, it's something you learn as it happens, and
yeah,
you always think, oh, everything's fine. I don't need that now. I can let that go right now. I can wait a little longer. Maybe I can do this instead or whatever. But, try and be proactive, and you never know. You can walk out that door and be hit by a bus. You can't predict your
Yeah,
future. So,
exactly.
you know,
And my husband got sick. He had ALS, and he was diagnosed in February of 21, and he passed away in November of 21. So he was only around for 9 months afterwards.
yeah. And then you were right before his 1 year anniversary of death is when you found out you had cancer the first time, right? Wasn't it
Yeah,
like days
yeah.
or a
It
week
was
or
like,
something?
it was, well, I had the first symptom in like June, July, right around that time. Um, and I went to an urgent care, and they gave me steroids and antibiotics, and then it the swelling went down, and then it popped out again, and I went to the doctor, and she said at the urgent care, and she says you need to see your family doctor. And I don't remember how long of a period of time it was between doctors, but I finally went to my family doctor, and I get there. It was a miserable day. I'm Get there, the doctor's checking me out. She's feeling my lymph nodes and tells me, she says, you need to go to the hospital immediately and get CAT scans done. And I'm like, I can't. She's like, why can't you? I said, there's a 60% off Christmas at Hobby Lobby.
Do you know how mad I was at her? I hung up the phone and looked at my other friend, and I'm like, "Do you know what she just said?" Yes, but I think you, fear set in rather quickly with you.
Fear and oh, I was supposed to go to Hobby Lobby that day. That was a plan. I was meeting a friend who I hadn't seen for, oh my God, like close to a year. And she says, hey, there's a sale. I'm like, well, I'm going to be down in Allentown that day. Let's hook up. So we went to Hobby Lobby. We never had our dinner. And while I was checking out at the doctor's office, the nurse was, whoever it was, who was checking me out, I said, you have to go, we'll call, I'm going to call them, let them know we're sending you over to get these CAT scans done. And I'm like, I can't. They told me the same thing. It's a sale at Hobby Lobby. And I'm like, just a look of shock on their faces. And I'm like, look, I didn't say I wasn't going to go get it done.
Right.
I just don't want to get done tonight.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change in a few days. So I had the CAT scan done on Tuesday. And I went to the grocery store on the way home. It was like maybe a 40-minute drive. I forgot where it even was where they had me going, because it was, wherever they had an opening.
Yeah.
And I went to get a CAT scan and stopped at the grocery store to get some stuff to make dinner. My parents were here staying with me. And I look on my portal on my phone for the hospital where you can get your test results and all those things. And all I see is the results are up, and all I see is malignancy, malignancy, malignancy. And I lost it. And I went in the kitchen, and um, I didn't really say anything yet. And then I got a phone call. I was making dinner. I was just making Reuben sandwiches. And I get a phone call, and I see it's the hospital, whatever. So I'm like, Mom, can you take over here? I got to take this call. And it was a doctor. And I think she slipped because it was so obvious from the results that I had cancer. But since there was no biopsy done yet,
Hmm.
she technically couldn't say that it was cancer, but it slipped,
Yeah.
that it was. And I just went out in the kitchen and bawled my eyes out.
And I was in Texas,
Yeah,
so
Barb was in Texas.
I felt horrible because there wasn't anything that I could do.
Yeah, my husband was gone. My parents, um, they after my husband passed away, my parents would come visit for, 2 or 3 days. They'd stay over. And this one night they were staying over for a couple days, I guess. And I honestly don't remember how often they stayed when, after Scott died, and just things are just blurry, and I think a lot of that is just from the grief and just kind of my brain
Well, they were
blocking things
usually
out.
here like 2 or 3 days a week,
Yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah, something like that they came. Um they mainly came when I had my chemo,
Yeah.
and
Sorry, people.
then they well then, then they ended up living here for a while,
Hmm.
kind of, and so
And then I moved in and they left.
yep, yep. Well, they weren't staying, they weren't living here anymore. They were basically at home, and they'd come for my dad's treatments, and then they decided that they were going to go home and they were going to get the treatments done there.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to leave because they live in an old house. They have steps, one bathroom upstairs,
Yeah.
laundry's in the basement. I live in a ranch home. For my husband having ALS, I have ramps coming in the from the garage into the house, and then I have a ramp from the front door into the house. And there's 3 steps that are the only basically steps they would need to do, and there was hand railings there, and my dad put railings in the bathrooms, in the one shower, and at the toilets to help Scott get up.
Hmm.
Now I'm using them.
Yeah.
Now I'm using them because I need them.
Yeah.
Especially when I first got out of the hospital. I could I couldn't I had to use a walker. I didn't want to use a walker, but I had to. And the one time I went out just to a store, and there was a ramp to go up, or there was steps, and I was parked near the steps. So I'm like, oh, I'll go up the steps. And I was with my friend Ace, and we're kind of holding on to each other. And I get up 3 steps, and when I got to the very last step, I couldn't lift my leg up high enough to get up, and
Yeah.
he had to help me get up the steps. And then it's like, well, I didn't hang out with Barb in the basement because I'm like, well, I may get down them, but I ain't getting back up them.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a little girl, so I thought, yeah, there's no way Barb's gonna get me back up the steps. So now I can go down the steps and I can get back up. Now I can do that. I just,
Yeah.
take my time, but I don't have the energy. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't have the energy and the strength.
Yeah. Tired all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not fun. Well, Jake is up. He's given himself a good scratch. Hi, baby.
Hey, Jake.
Come on. Nah, he's too busy. He wants to lick his toes.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a cutie pie, though. I got Jake when my husband was ill and was mainly in bed all the time, and I wanted. Oh, hold on. Go on, Jake. I wanted my husband to have a dog to lay with him in bed. We had a little Jack Russell named Angel, and she lived to be 18. And he said, "We're not getting another dog. We're not." It's like, "Oh no, we are. We
Yeah.
are." And he thought when I said, "I'm going to get another dog, so you have a dog," he thought I was going to get a Jack Russell puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "How are you going to handle me and a Jack Russell puppy?" I said, "Who the hell said I was getting a Jack Russell puppy? I'm getting an older beagle, so the dog will lay with you and stay
Mm-hmm.
with you." And that's what I did. And Jake, oh yeah, he would lay with Scott. And
Yeah.
the one time though, it was really hard because I took Scott's hand and I pet Jake. Did I say Charlie? I may have said
I
Charlie.
don't
I
think
don't
you
know.
did.
Um, I took Scott's hand and I pet Jake, and he had a smile, and then he started crying, and I felt terrible. But I knew he was happy, but he was so sad because he couldn't do it on his own.
Yeah.
And that was really, really hard. I used to have anxiety attacks so bad, and this was all going on with COVID. So
Mhm.
somebody would have to stay with Scott if I was going to go to the grocery store. And then I had to walk around the grocery store wearing a mask, panicking about my husband, knowing I'm going to be losing him, knowing that I should be at home with him. I shouldn't be away from him. I should be there with him. And yeah, I hated going grocery shopping. I
Yeah.
hated it. And that was the only shopping I really did.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah, so just trying to have somewhat of a normal life
Right.
with everything going on. And it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard that that first chemo, those 3 days, what that did to me. I had my finger got infected,
Oh
and
yeah. Boy, we'll have to show you pictures one of these days of her finger and the open sores because
it was bad.
nasty.
My finger is now, it's my index finger. Now you guys can't see it, but my index finger on this hand is different than this one now.
Her whole half of her finger was black.
Yeah, it was necrotic. Part of it was necrotic, and um my it's bigger now. I can't, you see, you can do that with your finger. On this side I can only get like that. My whole hand, that whole area is swollen, and the fingertip is now kind of pointy and goes off to the side a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And when you look at them side by side and you're close up, you can definitely tell there's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
And it's just going to stay that way.
Yeah.
It's just going to stay that way. That's not going to change. Luckily, that's healing my abdomen, and that's I'll just have scars from that. That I don't
Yeah.
care. Um, it's not something anybody's
I was
really
just
going to
gonna
see.
say, who's gonna see that?
Yeah, nobody's going to see that. Come on, Jake.
Jakey
You
poo.
want to come here? Want to say hi?
Come here, Jake.
Want to come here? Say hi. Come here, honey. Let's say hi to everybody. You want to? Well, you're gonna have to do something with that computer, because here he comes. Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna lay between us?
Hurry up. This is heavy.
Come here, honey. Come here. Come here. Oh, oh, oh. Come here. Okay. Now,
See if you can point it down and
look. There's
Dookie.
Jake. Hi, baby boy. This is my baby boy. He's when I got him, they said he was 10 or 12 years old, somewhere around there. And so I'm thinking he's like probably, 14. And my Charlie was only 6 when he passed. He had very bad epilepsy, and then he started having stomach problems, and nothing stayed down. And he kept going back to the vet over and over and over again. And he ended up going to the vet the one night when I was in the hospital having chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got out of the hospital, and he ended up having to go back again because he got so sick, and it was just time.
Yeah.
It was time because it was obvious he was suffering.
Yeah.
He could eat, he could drink, it didn't stay down. And he was, oh my God, was he funny? He was so cute and funny. I don't have a picture right here of him. He get into trouble. He he would knock over the big garbage can in the kitchen on a regular basis. When my parents were here, they had a small can that looked like a galvanized can, a smaller one.
Mm-hmm.
It was painted with flowers on it and stuff, and they kept dog food in it. And Charlie would literally get his bottom teeth around the bottom of the lid, and he'd drag it all over the kitchen trying to knock it over. And like twice he knocked it over, and all of a sudden you hear it, go get it. As I just listened, because he normally didn't knock it over, but twice he did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can hear that, that's Jake. He's got what they call a reverse sneeze. But yeah, twice he knocked it over, and I go to clean it up. And if you remember the game Hungry Hungry Hippos, that's basically what it was.
Geez, I remember. Were you in the hospital or you were some? I think it was when you were in the hospital. I'm downstairs and I hear this dragging across the floor. I'm like, what in the world is going on up there? I get up here and the entire garbage can, garbage can, metal, drug across the kitchen floor.
Yeah, the one day, no, I don't know if it was that day or if it was a different day, but I remember the one day I saw it in front of the dishwasher.
Yeah,
I don't remember if he drugged that while I was here or if it just stayed there from when I was in the hospital.
yeah, I don't
Um,
remember.
I don't remember, it could have happened while I was home, but I just left it there because I thought it was funny. I should have taken maybe
Oh
I
my
even did
goodness.
take a picture of it to show. Yeah, this is where he drug it to. For anybody who knows how big my kitchen is,
And
it's
how little the dog
yeah,
was.
yeah. Charlie was just a little chubby um beagle, and so freaking cute.
Oh my goodness, it was funny.
Naughty though, naughty, naughty
Yeah.
in everything.
Alrighty. Anything else important, or you want to
Nah,
wrap
I
it
guess
up?
we could wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up, and next week when she has her next appointment, which what did we say it was? The
I
PET
had my
scan.
PET scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor
Then
said he would call me
yeah.
and let me know what the results are.
So
So
we will update you guys then, and we'll try and make it a regular thing when she sees the doctor, and keep you guys informed. And again, you know, send us our messages down there if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, whatever. Just let
yeah,
us know.
yeah. Um, yeah, if you know any kind of agencies that will help people who have
Yeah.
cancer, because like I said, I have this whole septic thing going on right now, and that it took I couldn't tell you how long it took for me calling my home warranty company to them finally sending somebody out, because where I live is a very rural area, and I'm not in the city. There's a lot more people in the city to work for these agencies, and up here there aren't as many, and they end up outsourcing, and people will pick up a job.
Mhm.
And it was 2 weeks until this guy finally came to the house and
Mhm.
checked it out. And then he wouldn't even, he was just rude.
Yeah, he was rude. He didn't even, he opened up the door. He goes, "I ain't touching that. I'm going."
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So, he won't throw the toilet, and they said they weren't going to do I said, well, I'm getting a plumber out here. My kitchen sink, the faucet needs to be tightened. And then they told me that they wouldn't fix that because that was from wear and tear. And I said, I just had that taken care of, that it was working fine, and it just started again.
Mhm.
So then they said, well, they'd cover that, the cheapest thing to do,
Yeah.
which would take probably 5 minutes. They'll do that. But yeah, if anybody has any ideas of how I can get some help, just to get some help with some things around the house, because I can't do them myself. I
Mhm.
have my health problems, and Barb has her problems too. And once you get in your 50s,
Oh yeah.
you're kind of,
Life
well,
starts to slowly go
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. Well, my life was going down way before my 50s, way before my
Oh my
50s.
goodness.
Um, but hey, it was nice talking to y'all,
Yep.
and we'll see you soon.
Talk to you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.